Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Hello. Yes, a little bit early. Yes. Oh, thank you for joining us. I've come on just a few minutes early so everyone can get their notifications. And I'm in a little different spot tonight. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Joe, that's so fun. I know. I know. I tell you what, this past week has been a bit of a journey. So I'm trying to get back into it for sure. I think yesterday was the start. So I'm definitely jumping back in here. But I've missed everybody over here on the YouTube. So I'm really glad that I can come back. Yes, we're going to do the closet docket tonight, everybody. I don't know. I don't know why I laugh every time I call it that, but it's just funny. It's just, it cracks me up. So I'm going to update everybody. I have been doing lots of posts going through these cases, but I think it's kind of fun to actually do it on a live so we can talk about it and I can answer questions right away. So here's kind of an overview here. Again, I'm about 10 minutes early tonight to give everybody a chance to get their notifications. So I know, right, Boxer Mom? Oh my gosh, I tell you what, I know. Oh my gosh, sometimes I have to pinch myself. I'm like, is this really happening? Yes, it is. It is happening. Hello, Kaya. Hello. Hi, Charlie. Good. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, Miss Betharoni. Oh, thank you so much, Moby Girl. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I will be, again, making sure to split my time here, with most of my time being over here on YouTube. So for this week, I'm hoping to do so Sunday and then Tuesdays and Thursdays is rent. I know. No, it's not a fantasy, unfortunately, no. So I'm going to try to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays on YouTube. Now, I'm not scheduling anything out for TikTok because I just, it's really hard for me to schedule stuff, but I did want to give everyone here on YouTube some idea of when I will be going live here. So we'll do tonight, and then, oh, from India, well, welcome in. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays. So am I in law school? No, I am a licensed attorney. So I did graduate law school. Are we in a constitutional crisis officially? That's really hard to answer because I feel like we're always in some kind of a constitutional crisis. As attorneys, we kind of get up every day and we're like, all right, so who's messing with the Constitution today? And then we have to go and fight them. So it seems like we're always in a bit of a crisis. So yeah, I'm not sure that we're any worse than we've been in the past with constitutional questions. That's my humble opinion. In line with Kaya's, you should do. Oh, I know. Should I patent it? Closet docket, right? Or copyright it? I should. Oh, that'd be so funny. Yeah, that'd be really funny. For my daughter, take 5, put too much oil in her car. Oh, I have no idea. Sorry. What areas of law? So I focus mostly on, well, right now, especially constitutional law. My background is in criminal law and evidence in particular. So I've, practiced all different kinds of law. I haven't done anything, if you think of a lawyer, you're like, okay, corporate law, patent law, but we also just have general attorneys, right? Like a general doctor. especially, in my state where we have a lot of rural communities, the attorneys, we tend to take on multiple different kinds of cases. So when people are asking, like, well, what's your area? It's kind of, I'm kind of like all around, like a general attorney that in general. But I have spent, when I teach, though, or when I taught in the past, it was constitutional law as well as criminal law and evidence. So those were kind of my teaching areas, which is what I try to bring here to the YouTube. So, hello, Tay. Welcome. Hello, Lee. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so tonight we're over here, everyone, rather than at the table going through documentation, we're over here working with the, yeah, buffet style. I think that's a very accurate description. I'm gonna walk everybody through the closet docket tonight and kind of do a Q&A. I have made several posts. Any of my posts that I'm doing over on TikTok, everyone, I am making sure to post over here on YouTube. So I'm almost just doing simultaneous posts. So you shouldn't be missing much if you're not over on TikTok. So again, I am trying to transition over here to YouTube. This is going to be kind of my forever home. So I'm kind of working on that. So love your post. Oh, yeah, my posters. I tell you what, I I love them all so let me just kind of show you an overview here, everybody, of the closet. I'm just kind of hanging out a little bit here until I know that everyone's gotten their notifications, and then I'll start going into the cases. Uh, but I'll just give you an overview here of the different categories. I've had to change, I've added a couple categories here and kind of moved a few things around. But mostly they're kind of in the same position for the last few posts that I've done. Now, my floor is creaky, everyone, so bear with me here. Bear with me in my creaky floor. Probably the newest addition that we'll talk about is going to be the SCOTUS board. Sorry, I'm moving my computer over, everyone. So I did need to bring in some more wall space. So this is going to just be for the cases that are being pulled up into SCOTUS here. So, oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm glad it's hopefully helpful or interesting. For people, the rules of perpetuity, right? So, like the rule against perpetuity. So, right, perpetuity just means it goes on forever and ever. And we have rules here that say you can't have everything go on and on forever and ever. Basically, that's it. We just have rules that say you can't have a contract that never ends, or you can't have some kind of a legal document that makes it so things don't ever end. There needs to be a beginning and an ending. So, a lot of situations they kind of just put an ending at 20 years, but you'll see that with patents and various other things when you see certain, medications that are being made available. It's because the patent had run out, and that's because we just have rules that don't allow for forever type situations. So, just a general legal concept there. Hello, Thomas. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, thanks for joining, everybody. I wanted to make sure I hopped on here to YouTube tonight. I've done, I think, just one live yesterday on TikTok, and I think that's been my only live. I think I went live last Monday, but honestly, I've just not been able to. I guess I just haven't had the stamina to come on and hang out with everybody this week, so I'm just a little bit behind. But we'll catch up. We'll make up some time in the air. Yeah, the post is. I'm telling you, there's something. There's something helpful about having everything color coded. and set up properly in their own specific place. So the news avalanche is overwhelming. Oh my gosh. I tell you, it is overwhelming. And I'm trying to kind of keep up with what's going on, but also really focusing on, what's actually been filed rather than, the shock and awe. The shock and awe is just too much. And I think it plays into a part of the agenda here to like freak everybody out and upset everybody. And I think it's definitely playing into that. But some of it I think is really important. Some of it's good to have some idea what's going on. Glad to finally catch. Yes, yes. I've just not been going live, Chris. I tell you what, this last week, yikes. Feeling a bit defeated. Oh, absolutely. We'll get you back up on your feet, Betharoni. I tell you, we'll get you back up. I think we've all been kind of, on this roller coaster this last week. So we'll get you there. We'll get you there. Oh, you bet, Amanda. I'm happy to help. Happy to. Oh, yeah. Thanks so much, Dusty. I'm happy to go through and explain. And, to be perfectly honest, everybody, if I wasn't here live streaming this, I would just have my closet looking like this. And I'd just be here talking to myself. So I would be, my family, my family would be like, what's going on? And I would be like, well, there's stuff. So for me, it's a treat to know that there are other people here hanging out with me. So I'm not just, talking to myself while I go through it. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we've hit the magic number. This is 7 o'clock Central, which is when I try to do most of my lives. I think the last two TikTok lives were really early in the morning. I did one, and then yesterday, boy, I can't remember when I did it yesterday. But oh, thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate that. Hello, Cynthia. Staffa, are you mentally stable? Great question. That's an excellent question. And I'm going to plead the fifth on that. Using the 25th Amendment to deal with the attempt to create the king and the princess. That's funny. So the 25th Amendment is very powerful. That sets out presidential succession, right? And 25th Amendment was passed after JFK because at that point we had lost 8 presidents in one way or another while they were in office. And so Congress was like, dude, we need to do something. So the 25th Amendment was passed and set up. It is possible for the vice president or the cabinet to say, hey, the president's not able to go forward on his job. So he needs to get pulled. It is possible to do that. For sure. But I don't know that that's going to happen with this group of people, but we never know. Will Fani Willis be prosecuted? So I'm not sure. I guess anybody could be prosecuted. I would say, Craig, will you be prosecuted? Like, we don't know. She's not committed any crimes. I also have not committed any crimes. So right now, that's, kind of unknown in the future if she commits any. Yes, so we've got, yeah, no, there's no fraud. We definitely have got moderators in here, and more will be joining us. So there, Tay, hello. No worries, everybody. I found that the trolls over here just kind of, help a little bit, get more people in the room, but we just have to make sure that that they don't get too rowdy. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm going to try to be more consistent over here on YouTube. So this week we'll do Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at the same time. So about 7 o'clock Central. Attorney's fees. Well, we're going to have to see about that. There's lots of interesting things going on with that. So I'll have to, I should probably do an update actually on Fani, on Miss Willis. Well, hello, Kristen. Welcome, welcome. So as many of you know, I have been tracking the lawsuits filed against the Trump administration. All right. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I need, I need to do better. I need to get a better process going here, but we're a one-woman show here. Oh my gosh. So this is basically the cases that we're tracking right now. We're at about 125 with these. So it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So now none of these are personal. There's no kind of personal situation going on. These are all against the administration for executive orders and various things the administration has done. Okay, so I wanted to go through what's going on right now. I have updated a couple of categories. We do have lots of new suits that have been filed. One of the biggest and most interesting new areas here is that we have lawsuits regarding the Department of Education. So we actually have two lawsuits now that have been filed regarding the dismantling of the Department of Education. Mass grievance on behalf of a union. That's a good question. And typically, the grievance process is kind of just done with how wherever your jurisdiction is and how the management and unions like to kind of go forward on how to file those grievances. Uh, it again, it's going to depend too on the collective bargaining agreement, the process for the grievances too. They may be pretty specific about how many people are involved in that. So that's kind of another question. Can a sitting president be sued for an executive order? Well, heck yeah, that's right. That's what, like 3/4 of these cases are suing the administration here for the executive orders. So, right. Yeah, and it's okay. I mean, the trolls in here, we're doing okay. The algorithm's a little different over here. All right, I got to stay focused, everybody. Focus. So, I'm like ADHD out of control tonight. So here we go. Here's the key for the people interested in the color coding system. I have 9 categories right now. Actually, there's 10. Actually, there's 11. I need to update this one too. Yes. So, yeah, did someone just say siding with Mr. Trump? Wait, hold on, everybody. Just a minute. Did somebody just say, will there be cases siding with Mr. Trump? Let me just double check, everybody. I want to make sure. Okay. Yes. Did somebody say that? Dun dun did. Okay. Okay, so they said the Supreme Court will side with him on all cases. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. Yeah, so no, you've already had 2 cases where they are not siding with him in all caps. And don't yell at us, people. But remember, everyone, that the people fighting these cases, oh, thank you so much, Kristen, is the Department of Justice, right? So the weaponization of the Department of Justice, which is a phrase I didn't think I would be using, but yeah, it's in full force right now. That's exactly what's happening. Many attorneys have resigned out of the Department of Justice for ethical reasons. So they're kind of on a skeleton crew in there as well. Ninja powers. Oh my gosh, I love it. So yeah, they're on a skeleton crew, but every single one of these cases that's filed against the Trump administration, the Department of Justice is having to defend. All right, so keep that in mind. So here we go. We've got immigrations in pink, government funding green, agency dismantling is orange, agency employees is orange. DOGE cases are green with some orange highlight. We've got a lot of DOGE stuff going on. Temporary restraining order means there's a yellow flag on it. So if there's something like this, it means there's a temporary restraining order. Blue are rescinded funds, so funds that were promised and then taken away, which is a violation of the Constitution. Civil liberties are in pink. We have several of those. And then the DEI ban is also in pink. And Department of Education cases have been added, and SCOTUS cases are on their own board here. So, yeah, I'm trying to be steady with it so that we don't get motion sickness here, everyone. Hello, Willie. Oh, Willie B, it's good to see you. I'm so glad you could come and hang out. Oh, and I see you in there too, Kat. Hello, hello. So let's get started on these updates, everyone. We have new cases and, interesting stuff. So here's the first one going right here, the DOGE lawsuits. And there's a lot. This is a lot, everybody. So DOGE came in, right, and is like smashing and grabbing. This is a lot. This is a lot of, oh, me too. I know my ADHD is like, hi. This is a lot. So one of the things to watch out for right now is a lot of people are filing Freedom of Information Act requests for DOGE. And that's because the website is just, bare bones and there's not a lot of information. And, we're entitled to information. So if we've got questions, we can ask for, through the Freedom of Information Act, we can ask for that information. And the agency is supposed to get back to us within 20 to 30 days. And so DOGE is supposed to be responding to all of those FOIA requests, again, within just a couple of weeks. So we'll have to see how that goes. So with the DOGE lawsuits, the big piece again is the FOIA requests. The other big thing with DOGE is that they just keep coming. There's just like new problems that are being pulled up. So the first one here, this is the New Mexico et al. Case. So this is the Judge Chutkan case where we've got this big group who is filing for, DOGE violations of privacy. Senator Raskin, that's right. Absolutely, absolutely. We haven't had a hearing yet. Judge Chutkan, again, is presiding over this. We've got just a big group of state attorney generals here. They're trying to get discovery. And that's one thing, everybody, too, about the Freedom of Information Act when everyone's filing their request to keep in mind is that as the public, your FOIA requests are basically the same as legal discovery, which is huge. I mean, so you don't even have to file a lawsuit to get this kind of information from federal agencies because it's supposed to be transparent. So keep that in mind. Right now, the plaintiffs are trying to get discovery. The defendants are opposing discovery, and we haven't had a hearing yet. So that's Judge Chutkan's case in DC. Next, we have the American Federation of Teachers here, and they are saying they've had unlawful access to private information. We're also in the discovery phase here, and that's being opposed. AFL-CIO versus the Department of Labor. We've had motions to dismiss filed because of jurisdiction questions, and we don't have any updates on that yet. I don't think jurisdiction's going to be a big issue. It'll depend on how it's actually pled in the motions. But, sorry, I know I've got a floating tripod here, everybody. But jurisdiction really isn't the hook to hang your hat on in these kinds of cases. Next, we have Jane Doe 1 through 26 on the DOGE case again, saying basically there was no Senate approval for DOGE. And also this is the U.S. aid employees. Lentina has been consolidated into a bigger case, and so I'll get to that here in a minute. New York v. Trump. We have a lot of New York cases against Mr. Trump, by the way. Several, a handful for sure. I think New York has the most of any state. There are a lot of states included, but New York has the most Can an entire administration be impeached? No, it has to be one at a time. And they can be impeached so long as, impeachment is available for them. All right, so we've got a preliminary injunction here. Again, this is Access, American Public Health Association, and this has to do with federal act as well that they're saying is being violated because of what DOGE is doing. Next, we have Public Citizen. They've requested expedited briefing. So there's an act called the Federal Advisory Committee Act, everyone. And you can pull it up for those of you super interested. And it sets out legally what the law is if you want to put a committee together. So what DOGE is, actually there are rules that say this is the procedure and you need to follow those rules. And that is this act. And so this particular case is saying you have violated federal law because of how you're operating and how this was put together. All right, so this is the big one here. Next, we have AFL-CIOs. We have our unions in here and AFSCME against the Social Security Administration. Excuse me, March 10th, there was a teleconference, and I don't have the order yet from that. Then we've got University of California Student Association. This has to do with private student information. The temporary restraining order was denied, which is okay. A temporary restraining order is for like immediate assistance. So sometimes those are denied. It doesn't mean the case is denied or that there isn't a legitimate issue. It just means the exigency of the situation isn't at a level where a restraining order is needed immediately. All right, so just to kind of remind everybody about that. We have discovery requested here. So with these DOGE cases, the big issue again is that we don't have much information. They haven't updated their website to a point that makes it functional. So there's an issue there. So discovery is really needed in order to explain what DOGE is, who's in charge of it, and how it functions. Because surprise, surprise, everybody, federal committees or federal advisory committees and agencies don't just get to operate however they want for fun. There's actually rules they have to follow. And DOGE could have been just fine if they'd set it up according to the rules, but they didn't. So, here are the lawsuits that come from that. Here is the Alliance for Retired Americans versus the Treasury Department. This also had a restraining order and preliminary injunction denied, which is fine. Again, the case still goes forward. It's just that exigency piece. The court is not saying we're at a point where we have to put this in right now. Next, we have the American Federation of Government Employees, and this one has partial discovery as well. So I would say if you're wondering which cases are proceeding the quickest, or proceeding, maybe not the quickest, but the ones that were filed first are all of these DOGE cases. Once we're in a point with discovery, what's going to happen is you're going to see these kind of click over. So these have discovery right now. The next set will have discovery, and then this set will have discovery, and then, hearings get set and so forth. So this is really the first set of lawsuits where we're really moving through the process here. Oh, I know, Tay. I tell you what, I thought I was watching a YouTube live the other day, and somebody had pinned a comment, and I remember thinking, oh, I wonder how they did that. Oh my gosh. So anyway, partial discovery, the discovery here means that that's the next step. So these cases are moving forward. So here's another one that's been, I think this one has, the Nemeth has also been consolidated. So that's why I don't have any information on that, but I'm not sure at this point. Next, we have the Electronic Privacy Information Center. We had a temporary restraining order that was filed, and they converted that into a preliminary injunction. So again, that temporary restraining order is just a short period of time. And then the court said, let's go ahead and put an injunction into place until we can get the case sorted out. So that's what's going on there. They set up a lot different review schedule. Really interesting. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. Next, we have the National Treasury Union. So we have a lot of unions involved because we have a lot of employees involved as well, obviously. And this is the DOGE access to classified information. So that's kind of a big deal. The classified information that's been just like DOGE just has their hands in it. Like you have to have permission to do that. Or declassify the records, as Mr. Trump was so excited to share with us on the Florida case. He can declassify whatever he wants. But if it's classified, you can't just go digging around in it. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, everybody. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me, for people who know what chalkboards are, is the fact that all of this stuff is like, I'm not a fan, but they can do it. It's just, they're not following the rules. Like, follow the rules. And it's just like, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard is really the best way to describe it. It's so frustrating. As an attorney, we're just looking at these like, gosh, who's doing this? Who's running this crazy show? So next we have the Center for Taxpayer Rights versus the IRS. Again, this is private information. Hello, Achilles. Welcome. Kimberly. I'm old enough to know chalkboards. Oh, thank goodness. I'm glad it's not just me. I make that reference, and sometimes I worry. Oh, my goodness. So we've got access to tax information is being challenged. Then we have the Center for Biological Diversity. That's interesting. They had an amended complaint. So this case is a little bit behind the other one. They're incapable of following the rules. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, they come in and do the smash and grab when a little bit of planning would have gotten them the end result they wanted. And they didn't have to be, jerks about it, but whatever. Next, we have the Brem case. This is the USADF, so removal of the head of the Department of the U.S. African Development Foundation. This one's actually a really new one. Yeah, this was filed on March 6th, so one of the latest cases. And the temporary restraining order was denied on March 11th. So this case is still going through, of course, but the restraining order exigency just wasn't there. And then we have the Japanese American Citizens League versus Musk. Again, DOGE access to information. That was filed on the 5th. I don't have a specific update on that. So those are the DOGE cases as of right now, everyone. These are the cases moving the quickest. As far as the case itself. Now, when it comes to restraining orders and things like that, all of these cases are going to go at their own pace depending on how, exigent the situation is. But when it comes to what are the steps in these lawsuits, these cases are the ones moving the most right now. All right. So I'm going to take a tea break. Just 1 second. Okay. All right. Yeah, not much yet. So the next batch here of cases will go ahead and must be held criminally for any of this stuff. I don't see any crimes. I mean, we're making bad choices and we are violating federal statutes for procedural law. But I don't see any specific crimes that are actually being done. And remember, too, we have two elements needed for any crime. We need the act and the intent. So, I don't see criminal acts. And honestly, I don't see any intent either. I don't see an intent to commit a crime. I think people are just smashing and grabbing when it comes to how you would take over a company as opposed to how you would take over a country. I think those the lines there aren't clearly drawn for the people that are doing, a lot of this. All right, so here's our next categories here. We have the civil rights and the DEIA situation, and then just regular civil rights here. So these are our civil rights cases. And then down here at the very bottom, we do have one class action that's been filed. And this one is they're proposing the class action. I don't have an update on whether or not the class has been approved or not, but this has to do with DOGE's access to private information. So that's been filed. Whether or not people can join at this point, I just don't have an update on, but there is a class action suit in the works for the DOGE stuff. So, what if our data is compromised by his team and used for something that could be criminal? Yeah, I mean, any time our information's used for criminal actions, whoever's using that information could potentially be charged. Absolutely, in that kind of a situation. All right, so let's go through these cases. The first one, we've got the Doctors for America. We have a preliminary injunction in place at the moment, but they are fighting over it. And so April 14th looks like the next date. And then we've got Doe 1 versus Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Yikes, you don't like to see that. Yikes. Here we have a pretrial conference set for July. This one actually is the one case out of all of these cases, everybody, that's got some serious dates already set. And so I think what you'll also see with these cases is how the different judges like to run their shows. So that's also something that's interesting to kind of watch. Because these are all different judges, some judges are like, look, we're not going to do a restraining order unless you're on fire. Other judges are like, yeah, we can do that. That looks like all of our elements are solid, so let's go ahead and do that. I'd rather have it in place and not need it than to not have it in place. And this judge here, what you'll see is that he's like, dude, this stuff's getting scheduled. If I have to change the schedule, we'll change the schedule, but we're getting it down. So that's something too to kind of watch for on these cases, is how different judges run their shows. So, I mean, if you're interested in that, I am, but you may not be interested, but I think it is. So, all right, here we go. And so he's scheduled out. And I do know that this is a due judge because I had looked up this whole schedule. And also, everyone, each one of these cases is available online. I have the case number listed. And if there are any that you want the case number for and the case number is covered, just tell me and I can uncover it so you can do a screenshot. All right. Next, we have San Francisco AIDS Foundation versus Trump. And this is on the termination of the DEIA programs. This is probably one of our newer ones that has just been filed. Here, what happens if you lose them? Will you come back and report? I'll report on all of them. It doesn't matter if they're won or lost. The point of this closet docket, everyone, just so everyone knows, is just for information. I'm not advocating for or against, although there are some things so blatantly illegal that I will share, like that's illegal. But the whole point of this is so that you know what's going on. So this is just information for you. So next, we have the National Urban League versus Trump. This is a new one too, relatively new. Again, on the DEIA ban. So, and for those who don't know, the DEIA is kind of in old school days, we would have called it affirmative action, but we don't call it that really anymore. We do the DEIA, which is basically just acknowledging the diversity, right? So we're just acknowledging it. It's not a quota situation. It's not a check the box and you get special treatment. No, it's just, hey, are you acknowledging that you're probably not in a diverse category, but that there are diverse categories out there? So, let's not get that too screwed up when we're thinking about how that goes. Speaking of which, then we have the National Association of Diversity suing as well on the ban on the DEIA initiatives. We do have a preliminary injunction in place as of right now. All right, so there's our diversity cases here. It protects people from being discriminated against. Yeah, I mean, to some degree, it's better than nothing, I guess is how I put it. And I say that not as a, negative towards DEIA, but DEIA was just, and a lot of people don't know this either, was just a tiny drop in the bucket of what could actually make a huge difference. But it was something. It was something. And even that little something now has been removed. So that's kind of my stance on that, just to be clear. Now, next here for civil rights cases, these are just straight up violations of equal protection. Most people don't realize that the biggest group that benefits is women. Well, exactly, Willie B. Exactly right. So we have Orr v. Trump. This is the case that's been filed regarding information being put on passports, and it is discriminating against trans people. Let me pull this sticky up here. So the passport policy regarding that information that's being put into passports is, targeting trans people. So that's, a civil rights violation. Right now, we're just waiting on filings here. We don't have any updates on that as of yet. Also, can't be fired just for being part of, or at least couldn't in the past. So, Annette, I'm glad you brought that up. And one thing that I think is really important for people to kind of chew on is it's not going to save someone from being fired. In honesty, all right? In all honesty, everybody. DEI would not protect you if you're in an at-will state and you are working and they fire you. What it will do is make it so the person firing you doesn't say, I'm firing you because you are a minority. All right? That's really what it is. Can they still fire you because of prejudice and discrimination? Yes, but they don't want to say it when DEIA is in place. So I think that's really important to distinguish as well. All right. That's kind of like that's a big piece too, to just be, living in the reality of the US. So next we have the Doe v. McHenry case. Here, and we've got 3 trans women, and this has to do with transgender inmates. Now, one of these cases, and I can't remember exactly which one, when it comes to transgender inmates, had actually been filed under the Biden administration. Like, there were already some pretty big civil rights issues going on with that before Trump even came in. But now, of course, it's just, it's a lot worse. So we've got protective orders in place here. Next, we have a ban on gender affirming care, and this is the PFLAG versus Trump case. Down here, we have a partial restraining order in place. And here's the next one. This is the Mennonite Church case, and I had one of my followers say that he was really surprised that the Mennonite Church would come in because they are suing DHS because of ban on transgender women in sports. And he was really shocked. He's like, I didn't know. That didn't seem to really, line up with the Mennonite church's ideologies. But interestingly enough, there's a bit of a history that just within the last few years, the Mennonite church, like this one here, I mean, I can't say every single one, but have kind of started to turn. They've started to turn the corner into more of an anti-discrimination platform when it comes to transgendered peoples. That's huge. So although we've got all of these issues going on right now, we've got tons of them. It's opening the door for us to be able to take a look at organizations that previously were like, we don't care, or this is something we don't approve of, and acknowledging and noticing like, hey, these guys are turning the corner a little bit here, and their minds are kind of opening up a bit more. And they came in with a lawsuit saying, you know what, this doesn't seem right. They've got a hearing the first week in April on that particular case. To make places more accessible for, yes, that's right. That's right. There's a lot to DEIA, like a lot. When I talk about it here, I tend to focus on the D piece of it because there's so much that I try to just narrow it down. But I only am barely scratching the surface with that. So next up here, we have Maria Mo versus Trump. And this again is another transgender inmates question. Tyrell case here is transgender women in sports, is that one. All right, everyone. So these are the civil rights cases here, and then the class action lawsuit down there. And, if you're interested in the class action lawsuit, oh, is this South Korea? Hello. Anyo, welcome. So that's it for civil rights. Let's go ahead and bump up then to the federal employee cases. All right, subscribe to you. Oh, thanks so much, Dakota. Appreciate that. Well, that's what's great about the United States traveling is that you can choose how to use your sticky notes, and traveling's gone. Bye. Oh my gosh, moderators. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, here we go, everyone. I've got to get my tripod up. Now, again, I don't support mixing genders in sports. I think, Kristen, you raise a really good point. For me, and this is how I look at it, I don't think that there can be a rule to cover everybody. Like, I don't think a blanket rule would be appropriate. I think it has to be case by case by case. So the way I look at it is that I think there needs to be, if there's a question, it should go to a committee or to whatever, to make a determination for each individual case. So that's how I look at it. One size does not fit all when it comes to different levels and different places that people are at on their transgender journey. In my opinion, issue of what affects, right. It's not something that, well, right. Again, I think it just has to, each case by case situation. Right, stop making a thing. Well, right, exactly. I think it's definitely a red herring. It's a way to get people fired up quickly and kind of divert your attention from other things. But it's a question. It's I don't remember which Olympics it was. Invasive testing and muddy genetic that's a rough road. Wasn't there one Olympics? All right, everyone, I'm dusting the cobwebs in my brain off, where there was, I don't know, was it a swim team from China or Germany? I cannot remember. And there was some kind of question that was a huge issue. And I mean, this was multiple Olympics ago, long ago, further back than Paris or the boxer. It was a whole team, and it was some kind of a water sport, and I can't remember exactly what it was. But they were getting disqualified because they're like, this is not appropriate whatsoever. It might have been Germany, it might have been, but it was a long time ago. So there are legitimate questions to ask when it comes to, sports and like winning stuff. But I don't think it's something that, you can have a blanket rule on for, can't remember that far back. I know, that's what I'm saying, right? Oh my gosh, that's what I'm saying. Was it water polo? It might have been. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember. It was a women's team though for something. Oh my gosh, I'll have to Google that, everybody. I remember at the time it was traumatizing because I was like, this is such crap. Oh, all right, let's dive into the federal employees. And I tell you, everybody, the federal employees are the ones taking the biggest hits right now, as far as their worlds being destroyed. I mean, it's hard to watch. Like, don't get me wrong, there are harms being done here on everything in this docket, but the federal employees, what's being done there are just like, lives are being destroyed. So, right. Here we go. It was an aquatic sport for sure. Right. That's what I'm saying, Kristen. That's what I'm saying. I'll look it up. I'll follow up. All right, here we go. National Treasury Union versus Trump. And this is, again, Schedule F career employees canned. Next, we have public employee here. And then, there's not too much going on in these cases. They're gathering appearances here in pro hoc vice attorneys. Pro hoc vice means you are licensed to practice in one area, but you are requesting the court to allow you to come in on this specific case to work this case. All right, because all of these cases are federal cases, not all of the attorneys are, federal practicing attorneys. They are licensed in other places. And so what they may ask then is for them to be allowed in just on this case. So that's what that pro hoc vice is for people wondering what's going on there. And also, even if they are federal attorneys that practice in federal law, they might be in a different circuit than the one that they're needing to file in. So that's another thing. They're like, oh, I'm in the First Circuit. It's like, well, we're in the Ninth Circuit, so you need to make sure you get permission to come in and practice. This one is the National Treasury Employee Union. You can't see it right now, everybody, but every time I come up here, I'm actually on my tiptoes right now because it's so high. So if you're wondering why I'm out of breath, it's because I'm like tiptoe. I should get a step stool next time, all right? I'm gonna have to do that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this case, we're still doing appearances and summonings. Not the not the demon summonings, but the summons have to be sent out. Oh my gosh. Step stool with a ladder. I know. That's what I need. All right. So, and I even put on my extra big socks to like give me a little bit more height, but get a pointer. Oh my gosh. So I think Embellicose has like some pointers. I remember thinking like, oh wow, I need to get one of those. So yeah, I'll get one. All right. Well, actually, maybe I have one. Hold on a minute, everybody. Please hold. Let me see if I can get one here. All right, let me see. All right, so this is not a wand. Everybody, so follow me here. Get a giraffe. This is not a wand, although there's nothing wrong with a wand. This is actually a ring sizer. All right, you see all of the different sizes for rings on here. So we'll use this, but I want to make sure I told everybody what this was first, okay? So, yes, ring sizer. Yep. So you put the ring on here and it'll tell you what size the ring is. All right, well, right. I know. I don't spend a lot of extra brain power trying to figure out the exact right the exact right word. Yeah, fancy. Okay, here we go. Look at this, everyone. Look at that. We're loving this. All right, so we went there. Next here, right? So Government Accountability Project. Again, we're doing appearances pro hoc vices. AFL-CIO here. We're still doing appearances and notices with a ring sizer as a wand. You know, you always get a little something extra when you hang out here. Oh my gosh. All right, here's LeBlanc v. US. And this is the PCLOB members who were fired. So that's this case. Maybe I have a Harry Potter wand. I went to Universal. I should get that. I'll get that for next time. You know, Kristen, that's the thing, is I'm not sure how many people do have ring sizers. All right. American Federation of Government. I'm getting so distracted. Oh my gosh. Here. So this has to do with the deferred resignation program. This was a big question on whether or not this program was okay. And they said we don't need a temporary restraining order, anything along those lines. He has several. Oh, I love it. So this litigation is still ongoing, but we don't have a specific restraining order in place. Ring resizing. So, right. If anybody has, like, for me, everyone, because I have some problems with my hands, my ring sizes change, right? Depending on how swollen my hands are. So I have this to measure my rings, so I know which rings are going to fit and which ones aren't, because I just am that bougie. All right, so there you go. Confession time. All right, next up, John and Jane Doe, 1 through 9, versus the Department. Oh, I know, Kat, the Department of Justice. So here the DOJ is wanting to review who the FBI are that were involved in the January 6th investigation. So this is a really big question. Still going on. We still have some ethics questions too. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, Achilles. That's the thing, is I had one of the things that bothered me was like, oh, I love my rings, but sometimes I can't wear them. So I'm like, well, let's get more. let's get more rings. We listen every time, Judge. Oh my gosh, Lisa. Oh, that's right. All right, next up, Storch v. Hegseth. This is a newer, I'm sorry, I was going to say this is a newer one, but it's actually not. This is one of the original cases filed. That's funny, Chris. So we had the termination of, I think it was it 7 inspector generals? So these are the whistleblower investigators, and they were, canned right away. Yeah. So let me just show you. All right. We'll just have a moment. So here's my ring for tonight, and you put it on here, and then let me see if I can get it. Then you can see what size it is. Right? So then that's how it measures it. Right. The jeweler's eye. Oh my gosh, everybody. All right. So Grunman versus Trump. Termination of Federal Labor Relations Act member. Preliminary injunction was granted here. So don't mix this one up with the Federal Labor Relations Board person. We've got 2. We've got one in violation of the act and one in violation by pulling her off the board. Next, we have American Federation of Government Employees, AFL-CIO, and this, the termination of the probationary employees, everyone. So this was the really big one. This was the really big case, yeah, my my hands, I tell you, they just Mickey Mouse swell and then go back down, so it's hard to know. So when the federal judge said y'all need to get them back to work and get your back pay, that's this case. This is one of two. So the second case is this Maryland case was the other one where those probationary employees were terminated and the judge was like, get them back to work. So these are the two probationary ones as well. So both of those were huge decisions. Yeah, it is. It's really uncomfortable. Yep. Harris versus Besant. I did go through this as well. She had been employed on the Merit Systems Board, and they fired her. And the judge came in and said, no, you cannot do that. You don't have hot dog fingers. You don't have the authority to do that. I'm glad we can all learn about rings. I mean, that's like one of my favorite things in the whole world are my rings. So, all right, next we have Pueblo of Isleta versus the Secretary of Interior. This one's really interesting, actually, everyone. If you pull this case and kind of read through it, it's interesting because you probably didn't know that we had a reduction of staff for the Bureau of Indian Affairs going forward. Like they're already on a skeleton crew and they're pulling even more people. So it's just like a, just like the left side of a skeleton, I guess. So we have 3 tribal nations suing over that. This was filed on the 7th, so it's one of the more recent ones. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I know what. Oh my gosh, sorry everybody, I've distracted you all. Yes. So, and that's my middle finger too. So it's my biggest finger. Oh, so that was the Maryland probationary employees and they were ordered back. Now over here, we've got Department of Education. We've got 2 lawsuits filed here. We've got, I don't know, what is it, 14 attorney generals suing because of the dismantling. And then, oh my gosh, this is really an interesting case as well. The Carter case. So we've got the Council of Parents, and they're suing because they're saying they're unable to process and investigate complaints because of what's happening with the Department of Education. So that one was just filed like 2 days ago. Very interesting case. I think that's a great point that they're saying, like, we've got stuff we need to do, but we can't because of all of this bologna sandwiches that you're pulling the Department of Education. All right, here we go. We're getting there, everybody. We're making it through the cases. We're doing a good job. Okay, there's my sock, everyone. That's my big. Oh, that's my big sock. It's supposed to make me taller, but it didn't. All right. Now it's because nobody asked. We do have FOIA requests going on. We've got a whole bunch that have just been filed, and I've not put them up. Once they actually start getting into the system, I will put those up, the FOIA requests here. Random. That's right. No, that's a sock. It's a sock, not a foot, all right? So we've got the American Oversight Organization versus DOGE, a Democracy Forward Foundation, and this is the one against the U.S. Marshal Service. This was filed just 2 days ago where they're asking the U.S. Marshals some information. Center for Biodiversity over here, they have filed a lawsuit against DOGE, but they've also filed a Freedom of Information Act request. So it's a twofer here. And I think it'll be interesting to see if the FOIA gets answered first or if the discovery in the lawsuit gets answered first. So they're hitting them from 2 directions. They've got the lawsuit going. They're like, we're going to want discovery here. But then down here, they have filed the FOIA. So, and I think that's actually really smart. I think anyone that's filing lawsuits should be filing the FOIA requests because there's so many questions about what's going on with the DOGE, everybody. So there's that. Now we can dive into immigration. Okay, who's ready for the immigration cases? Yay! Hold on here. We're going back up. Back up. Oh my gosh, everybody. Only the highest of quality for your content here. Everybody, only the best. All right, let me move my computer out of the way here. Oops. Okay, that's all right. Everybody's okay. Some Post-its fell, but we're making it. All right, so these are the immigration cases here. And there's 4 primary issues that I've divided them into, which is birthright citizenship, terminating legal immigration, which is like what they're all about right now, the ICE abuses and equal protection violations just specific to immigration. So equal protection would be civil rights violations, but instead of putting them over there, I put them over here. All right, so, all right, here we go. I got the pointer here. We have the OCA Asian Pacific group suing for the birthright citizenship executive order. And right now we're waiting for the defendant's answer. So this one's really slow moving, actually. You just don't punch the computer. Oh my gosh, I tell you what, I'll never live that down, everybody. I still have footage of that. I did a live and my hand was in a brace because I busted it. Yes, we have the highest of quality, always. All right, so this one, again, this one's moving slow, super slow here. And, you know, this is one of the ways, again, that we will be seeing how these judges run their shows. Next, we have New York Immigration Coalition, birthright executive order. We've had some filing errors, but we all remember. Oh my gosh. So the judge has granted confidentiality. So a lot of this information then is going to be kind of sealed so that it's not available to the public. The judge will do that when there's some questions of whether or not it's going to interfere with the case. So if the information being public will interfere with the case, then the judge may grant at that time. I'm moving the wand around, everyone. I'm sorry. Again, only the highest of qualities here. But they could grant that. Like in the Lee versus Trump, this entire case is sealed. So we don't have any access to that case. Next, we have the New Hampshire Indonesian group. I think it's a group, it might be an association. Preliminary injunction again, and this is on the birthright citizenship executive order here. All right, so that one's there. Next, we have the U.S. Conference of Bishops. So we had the Mennonites, we've got the bishops, and then we have the Quakers. So we've got, those are the 3 groups so far, but they are suing on the refugee admissions program, which has been suspended. So that's pretty major. CASA Inc. And Make the Road New York case. Here we've got summons out there and attorneys are gathering. This has to do with the temporary protective status that was given to a group of Venezuelans. I keep wanting to say Venezuelans, but it's actually Venezuelans. So my bad there. So they're suing there. We're going to have some interesting things happen here because, you know, Mr. Trump decided to load up a plane and send some people to El Salvador, and that's not okay. So we're going to have some interesting cases coming up for that as well. Next, U.S. conference. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, we already did that one. So that's the refugee admissions. This is the Venezuelans. This one is the Denver Public Schools, where they're saying the rescission of protections is harming them and those ICE protections. Next, we have Odo and Brazilian workers. Here, I'm not really sure exactly what's happening on this case because it seems to be, we've got a preliminary injunction, but then things were being appealed. But the big issue is that the U.S. attorney on the case, we don't know who it is because they filed it and then they withdrew, but the judge hasn't granted the withdrawal order yet. So I don't know what's going to happen for that. Which one is for the Foreign Something Act? I don't have that one up yet. I think that's the most recent case. And I haven't gotten a sticky note yet. I'm wondering which category I'll put that under. Maybe Rockstar Cases, the 1798 case, which is ridiculous. Elevates it to international law. Well, when you move humans from one country to another country, you've got international law in play. Next, Center for Trabajadoras Unidos v. Basent, using the IRS to find undocumented immigration enforcement stuff, information here. Next, we have let's look at this one. This one's got to stay. The Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services, the prohibition on asylum, they're challenging that. There's a stay in place right now, but information's still being gathered. That was where the judge said, turn the plane around. Right, exactly. This Pasito case is a really big case too. We've got a preliminary injunction in place having to do with the suspension of the U.S. refugee admissions program. So this is like legal immigration that they're jerking around here. All right, sorry the lighting, everybody, but we're moving over here. Next, we have the Organized Community Against Deportation. This is the Chicago case. We've got a temporary restraining order has been withdrawn by the plaintiffs because they really want to focus on the rest of the case instead of fighting about a restraining order here. Next, we have Make the Road in New York again. So this is another one. There's a couple of Make the Road cases. And so these are separate issues, even though they're both in New York. Attorneys are still gathering for that. And they landed, didn't turn the plane around. Right. Yeah, I mean, it's happening pretty quick. That whole situation, which is just awful. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody. I'm not trying to say bad people should be given special privileges. What I'm trying to say is we have rules, and those rules need to be applied to everybody. So that's what I'm saying. All right, with that. Here's the Amica Center for... Sorry, I think it's... is it? I suppose it is Amica, right? I never know if your E is long or short, but... Amica Center for Immigrants' Rights versus the Department of Justice here. This is an access to lawyers issue, and that's a pretty major issue. Right now, we've got a hearing coming up on March 17th. So this week, we'll have a hearing. Las Americas versus DHS. This has to do with the CBP app. Right now, a motion for summary judgment was denied. A temporary restraining order was also denied, so we don't have any exigency, but we are still going forward on that case. Next, National TPS Alliance. Here, we have a motion to shorten the time, so they're trying to move things quicker on the case. We have an emergency hearing on the 24th that is set for them. Espinosa Escalona here. This is the Guantanamo. So 10 people moved to Guantanamo because they're in the immigration process. They have filed a writ of habeas corpus saying, we shouldn't be in Guantanamo. Right. And next we've got Las Americas, and this is different. This isn't the DHS. This is NOAM here. Again, another Guantanamo situation. Then we've got the country of Santa Clara, which is another birthright executive order. Here, order to show cause why they shouldn't have this stay. And we've got the plaintiffs and defendants still responding on this one. And Franco Allman, birthright executive order. This was consolidated into the huge Washington case, which is now one of our SCOTUS cases. So, let's see, we've got one center row left, but let's talk about SCOTUS quick before we go through the last row. All right. So here's our SCOTUS board. Now, the two cases that went to SCOTUS before, there's actually three, but I've moved the third one back. The Shapiro case, let's see, was that the Shapiro case? So Dillinger v. Bassett, and this was one of the Office of Special Counsel people who was terminated. Yeah, Guantanamo's closed for prisoners, pretty much. I mean, it's, pretty much, but then people who are in the immigration process, they're just transporting them there as a place to keep them because that's happening. So this case went up to the Supreme Court and then came back down again. He has withdrawn the case at this point. Then we also have the AIDS case, which is outstanding balances when it came to contract work that had already been done through USAID. So you probably have heard a little bit about that one. And the Supreme Court was like, the lower courts need to get this sorted out. Then the most current case has to do with birthright citizenship on three separate cases where we have three federal judges who have put out nationwide restraining orders and injunctions on the birthright citizenship executive order, right? And they're like, no, you can't do that. And so Mr. Trump's like, you shouldn't be able to make these decisions for the whole country, just for the area you're in. So that's what the issue is that's heading up to the Supreme Court on that. Now, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Oh my gosh, my knees, everybody, my knees. Oh, my knees. I don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do about it at this point. They've kind of already ruled previously that courts can have jurisdiction over the whole U.S. I mean, that's kind of already been established, so I don't know. Exactly, Tay. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. When's SCOTUS on break again? So they are, we've got to get the last of their cases decisions in June. So then they go for their summer break and they come back again in October. All right, one case up here, we have sanction requests. We have a motion to dismiss that was filed, which was denied, and the opposition to that. We also have plaintiffs filing a motion for sanctions because they're saying that the government's acting in bad faith in going through this whole process. Don't fall off the ladder. Oh, I know, right? All right, let's do the frozen funds next, and then the last category will be our rockstar cases. So this is the Shapiro case. This had to do with funding for some reason I keep saying it's New Hampshire, but it's Pennsylvania. We had funds that were supposed to be federal funds that are supposed to go to Pennsylvania that were frozen, and so they sued. And this case is ongoing. Rumor has it that they have received some of those funds. So we'll see how that goes. Because again, it's the Congress that says where the money goes. It's not the president. Climate United Fund versus Citibank here. Refusal of funds from the National Clean Investment Fund. This is one of the newer filings. National Council of Nonprofit. Here we have frozen funds too. This one's kind of getting messy because they're not being specific enough in their filings. So we're going to have some problems with that. They're kind of cleaning that up right now. And we have San Francisco, this has to do with the sanctuary city executive order that came in. Metropolitan Transportation Authority out of New York. They're combining 6 cases together again on the rescission of federal funds. City of New York again versus Trump. And this one, we've had the temporary restraining order and the preliminary injunction denied. This is the denial of grant funds from the feds that they were supposed to have. The memo about who, oh, I know. I should probably do like a visual aid on that one. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun making the visual aids. All right, now we've got the mayor of Baltimore here. They're trying to prevent defunding. So again, we've got some defunding of the CFPB. We do have a restraining order in place at the moment. We have the Association of American Universities, and this has to do with cutting funds for science research. So this is just an injunction has been granted at this point. Next, we have the Commonwealth of Massachusetts versus the National NIH. Also, they're supposed to be doing reimbursements, and this is medical research as well. Then we have the Association of American Medical Colleges here, same thing. Funding that had been promised was cut. Butterby Farm versus U.S. Department of Agriculture. Funding freeze. This is a coalition of farmers, and they were guaranteed some funds through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're refusing to release that money. This was just filed a couple of days ago. This is pretty awful. Also, then we have the, what is it, Woonasquatucket River Watershed Council. Another Department of Agriculture. More federal funds that are frozen that they were told they were supposed to be getting through the Inflation Reduction Act. So, that's pretty awful. Okay, and then, all right, we've only got about a handful of cases left here, everyone. This is the next category: revocations, rescissions, suspensions, dismantlings is this last category here. The American Foreign Service Association regarding the dismantling of U.S. aid. Right now, we don't have anything going on this one. We had a preliminary injunction in place, but it's no longer in place. So it's just slowly making its way through there. Personal services contractor here. This is dismantling the U.S. aid. It's ongoing. National Treasury Union versus VOT, dismantling Consumer Protection Bureau, ongoing. And then Global Health Council versus Trump, dismantling U.S. aid, ongoing. The American Oversight, it's not a committee, it's a, I'm not sure. Hold on, everybody. I've lost it. Organization, I think. American Oversight Organization versus U.S. aid. This is really new. This is one where they're saying, as they're dismantling USA, they're destroying the U.S. aid, they're destroying records. And they, like important records that they're going to need. And so they're saying they're destroying these records in violation of the Freedom of Information Act, as well as the Federal Records Act. So as they tear down some of these agencies, there's some shredding going on. And they're like, you guys can't just shred stuff. You got to comply with the law. Like, nobody's complying with the law. It's driving me crazy, everybody. It's driving me bonkers. Like, come on. Oh my gosh. All right, everyone. Last category. Here's our last set of cases. These are rock star cases, and these are from all the different categories, but very important to keep an eye on. So the first one's the Philadelphia yearly meeting of Religious Association of Friends. So this is the Quaker case. Yeah, I know. It's so frustrating. It's very frustrating. There's a protective order and a preliminary injunction in play. I don't have any more updates on that one, but that's a pretty big case. Wilcox versus Trump. This is the woman who was filed off of the National Labor Relations Board, and the court's like, you need to put her back on right now. Any sense when the rule of law is being broken? Well, I mean, what do you do when the rule of law has been broken, right? We're not dealing with criminal cases. This is what happens when they break the law, but not in a criminal situation. What happens? Then you get sued. Then you get a lawsuit against you. So it's like doing what it's supposed to do, but it's frustrating because it didn't have to be this way. Perkins Cole. Ooh, this is a big one. This is that law firm in DC, and they're suing the Department of Justice because they're kind of being attacked, and their reputation is being, harmed. So that was a new lawsuit. A law firm. I mean, this is a classy law firm too, that they're like, well, we're going after those guys. Like, what are you doing? We have a rule of law that people are not supposed to be in the country, should be removed. No, that's not right. People who go to court to be against, no. So you have to have certain kinds of paperwork, and until you get a stamp from a judge, your paperwork's not complete. So it can take you 3 years to get a stamp. What are you supposed to do when you got 3 years to wait, right? Should you sit on a ship in the ocean until your number's called 3 years later, right? I mean, what are you supposed to do? Next, we have the Associated Press versus Budovich here, denial of press access. And then State of Washington birthright case here. This is the huge birthright executive order case. So that's one to keep an eye on. And then we have frozen funds. We have a preliminary injunction ordered. We've got all these different attorney generals who have filed. This was the one where we had some compliance issues from the defendant, but they're doing better now, apparently. That's not how the law works. So, Bill, that's not actually how it works. But I mean, Fox News, you can go and listen to them, but that's not actually how the process works. Depends on where you are. I know, seems like it's been forever. Kristen, I know. Okay, it's been 1 hour and 28 minutes. I know, but look, we're coming down to it, right? Right? I try to stay at 90 minutes. We're in the last case, everyone. All right, Talbot versus Trump. And this is the ban on transgender people serving in the military. Huge, huge, huge. Yeah, they don't read the law or try to understand it. They just want to be angry, like so angry all the time. Like, switch to decaf, people. Maybe you'll feel better about the world. So these rockstar cases just mean that they're huge cases. They're really big issues, pivotal, important issues in play here. So kind of the biggest of the issues. So this is our biggest transgender case right here is the military. That's one to watch. The birthright executive order case, the Washington case, is the biggest one. So that's what made them rockstar cases. All right, everybody, we made it. Did we make it? I'm looking. I'm just double checking. We made it. Let's do an overview again. Here we go. I'm just holding up my tripod here, everyone. Yikes. Yeah, the headlines, surprisingly, are not actually the full story. I know, weird. It's weird. But, that's how it goes. So here's our DOGE cases. I tell you, if anyone could see me right now, I'm just walking around my closet, holding up my tripod with my phone on it. I look like a crazy person, everybody, but it's okay. This is for learning. Oh my gosh. We are here to learn. All right, so there's that. And then we have our next row over here. And then our civil rights cases over here, class action. Your big rest after this one. Oh, true story. I'm going to probably, I don't know. I tell you what, my cat, I know I can't help it. Sometimes I talk about my cats too much, but my Atticus cat, he like goes and brings me the lids to his soft food, right? We have one of those little rubber lids that you put on the can because he only gets half a can. No matter where we put it, he finds it, and it's really big. It's bigger than his head, and he just drags it in. And so I'm like sleeping on the bed, and all of a sudden it's like this big, rubber circle just gets plopped on my face. And I'm like, are we under attack? What's happening? Oh my gosh. And my husband, my husband's like, he's just doing cat stuff. And I'm like, fine, here's the lid. But I keep putting it like on top of cupboards or like on the stove or wherever. And he will find it and somehow jump onto my bed, onto my face. And I can't even deal with it. And I just I just gave it to my husband. I'm like, here's the lid. Get this sorted out. And he's like, oh, right. He's just doing cat stuff still. So yeah, I've got to get, oh, I know. He really is a whole character. Oh my goodness gracious. I tell you what, now we're on spring break. So this next whole week, we're on spring break. So his bowl and angrily shakes it. I tell you what, the other thing, the door to my bathroom has about a 2-inch gap between the door and the floor. And if I'm getting ready in the morning and they're not getting enough attention, all I see are 4 paws under the door, like attacking me. It's like a horror movie. The paws are coming. Ah! Oh my goodness gracious. All right, everybody. Well, hopefully this was informative and a bit humorous. We were a bit all over the place tonight, but that's okay. The country's all over the place, and that's all right too. I used to shake the door. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Right. I mean, I'm just like, trying to do my skincare routine, and I've got like these paws like trying to get me. It's like a horror movie, all right? Oh my gosh. I can't stop laughing. It's so funny. Anyway, everybody. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out with me tonight. This was my first time doing the closet docket for YouTube. I'll probably just do an update probably, every other week or something huge happens. I do like to kind of keep to going through documents. I think that's really helpful for people. But I think also to get a visual on what's going on here is helpful as well. So I want just to remind everybody, I will be planning this week to be back again on YouTube Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock Central. All right, so you can kind of put that into your schedule. Hopefully, again, if the stars align properly. Oh, thank you, everybody. Oh, I'm happy to do it. And, as I said, kind of at the top of the show is that I would be doing this whether I was on YouTube or not. So it's nice to to have somebody to talk to instead of just myself. So my family doesn't be like, this one needs to go in and be seen by a doctor. She's talking to herself. So I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me. Oh, yes, I will be resting up. So take care, everybody. I don't have a schedule over on TikTok for doing lives. I just kind of do a last minute. If I feel like I've got an hour in me to do something, I'll hop on to the talk. But I also am trying to make sure to post everything here and there. I will eventually make the full move over here. So I'm getting there, everyone. I'm getting there as quick as I can. I'm doing my best. But have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you for all coming and hanging out with me. I had so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'll be looking back on this being like, what happened? So have a good night. I'll be back again very, very soon on the Roku. Yeah, I gotta work on it. I gotta work on it. Take care, everybody. See you all very soon. And yeah, over on the talk a little bit. Don't forget to laugh as much as you can, everyone.